Khulekani, Sanbonani, Absheni. My name is Nom Sabutelezi Shezi. And of course, people that love me, they call me the Gomorrah Diva. It is the new year, and we start this year stronger. Thank you to Metropolitan. Guys, you know, when we talk about finances and we talk about money, people are shy when we talk about cash. There's silence in the room. We wait for anger to trigger these conversations when it comes to money. When I call my friend, let's go to a restaurant. She's angry. A debit order took my money, my last 700 rands. Why do wait for anger to talk about money? We've got metropolitan industrial experts and insurers who are going to help us make financial choices, good financial choices. Hey, Sabonga Metropolitan. But before I introduce the man behind me, the magician, Yamapots. Ingredients. He makes the things that make the pots to be done. But I'll introduce him later. For now, I have to introduce our distinguished guest, Abantu Bama VIP. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in. Welcome, just on time.
Hey guys, how are you?
You just came in right on time.
You're cooking food.
I'm so excited, guys. I'm very excited that we'll be talking about something that we love, money. Yeah. But sometimes money doesn't love us. It runs away somehow. Please introduce yourself.
Today I'll be your chef. My name is Lindsay Pengu, and I'm a chef. And I actually used to be in investment and finance before.
Great. And to our
Yes, so I'm the sous chef, the second in command, I guess you can say that. Now Pete Mohoto. I've been a chef for 8 years, I think now.
Wow.
And me and Bengu met at the first kitchen I ever worked in. He was my senior, so so he's taught me a lot actually.
The chefs are looking good. I'm sure the food is also going to be looking good. Thank you very much. And to our beautiful guests, our VIPs, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Nazo Kalago, and I've been in the insurance industry for quite some time, but currently I head up our complaints department at Metropolitan. So I get to see all our lovely compliments and, you know, our sore points, and we get to sort that out for all our customers. Yeah.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Mamokgetse Ramulifi, and I am self-employed. I have a lot of insurances just to cover myself for the near future and whatsoever.
Sure. All right, my name is Mzondile Ditlopo. Been employed for a long time, now 10 years. Me and insurance has been a life thing, you know, because those are the one things that cover you. And yeah, those are the good relationships so far. Good.
Okay, and I'm Gerald Mwandiambira. I'm a certified financial planning professional. I'm an author, an entrepreneur, and I give advice around money and also obviously making the right decisions with insurance and other matters.
Hi guys, I'm Kay Khadebe. I used to be a mechanical engineer, but now I make YouTube videos helping people to increase their income online and all things around money and increasing their money. So yeah, that's me.
Great. I don't know whether should we go sit down, Chef Lindsay?
Yeah, sure. I think I'll sit down. But before I sit down, any drinks, guys?
Personally, I'll always say personally because I like referring to myself so that you can be able to understand. My advice, you know, we go through stuff, especially financially. You know, people don't want to talk about money. People don't want to talk about their fails when it comes to money. Who advises you? Who advises you? Obviously, the pros also need to, advise, you know?
You know, personally, it's my wife, and then I also do consult colleagues. It's very important to always get a second, third opinion in anything you do, especially around money as well. Always shop around because every single product, every single solution, it exists for a reason. And I think one of the things I like to explain firstly is that it's a financial universe.
Yes.
And every product is there for a reason, and it's not evil. We need to get rid of this thing, financial institutions, money, the devil. No, the devil is in your head.
But
it can be scary.
No,
it can be scary. And intimidating.
It's
very
intimidating. And I think that's really the real reason why we think money, financial institutions, there's always a scheme behind it. It's about let's empowering ourselves with the knowledge, because it's the lack of knowledge which allows us to end up as money slaves instead of being money masters.
You know, when you talk about being a money master, there's a thing when you see influencers, when they talk about, you know, this is how I drink my red wine, this is what in the influence of like maybe getting an advice from an influencer, but they're not telling the truth. You know, let's talk about that when we sell a brand and there's no truth in it. You know, how would it help me as a normal person?
The saying goes, never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
And often many people are living a fake reality, especially when it comes to their finances.
I think you always have to bring it to your own situation. You know, I can't be living in a one-bedroom flat and you giving me advice about, you know, a mansion house or whatever the case might be. So I think that's where you would have to actually look at your own life and see if, does this actually fit?
So what drives you to help people financially?
I think for me, it's just my own experience and my struggles and having been broke, having quit jobs before, and just feeling like there was no one that looked like me on the internet, on YouTube, explaining these concepts. You know, there's a specific type of people that explain it, and sometimes it's not relatable. So I felt like I've experienced things, I've learned things, and I don't think that everyone has to learn things the most painful way. Yes, sometimes you should definitely learn from your own experience, and I think it will stick more than anything, but you can also learn from other people's failures, right? When other people share their mistakes that they've made. I think, yeah, we can shortcut life if you're willing to learn from other people's mistakes as well. So that's what drives me. I really want to just share what I've learned, so people don't have to go through the same painful mistakes, that I went through.
What you're saying, it's very important, because you know, there's a saying, ekasuthi ingane they learn ngenyama. You know, they through experience, that's how they will know about their misfortunes, and then they will try to change their conditions.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to see someone telling us that these are my experiences until I feel it myself.
It's unsaid, but it's clear that there's previously advantaged groups and previously disadvantaged groups. And, you know, there has to be a change in how we see ourselves. We've almost conditioned ourselves to fail financially. So it goes into other aspects of our lives. We've conditioned ourselves, I will never understand insurance. I will never understand money. I will always lose money. So we've made it okay to fail when it comes to being money masters. And I think, you know, it's as much as we can say experience is the best teacher, we also need to change the narrative in terms of how do we actually get to the other side. There's not enough information around moving away from born to suffer or to born to succeed.
Yes.
You know?
So me and my brother also sells food. He has a business. So what we do is we employ our parents to work for us so that we pay them.
I win.
So that so that they don't depend on us. We have to start our own lives. We have to start our own families. It's painful to give your mom or your dad money and they go drink it. I mean, your hard-earned money, you give it to someone and they go blow it. So it's better if they work for it. What they do with it, it's up to them.
You know, as coming from the Insurer Metropolitan, we just also wanted to, you know, have this lunch, and because I share my knowledge with you, you share my knowledge with me, because we won't always have these platforms. But right now, I will go to my family with whatever you guys give me, and that's what we want to tell our client out there, that, you know, we want to equip them, we want to give them the correct tools to go out there and make better decisions.
Beautiful. Chef, my chef, Upina.
Yes, my dearest, I'm here.
The conversations, the
It's
table
hitting,
seats, it's hitting
nicely.
Yeah, the finances are, like, I feel after this whole conversation, I'll be financially literate. Like,
Oh, sure.
I will know everything.
I'm a debit order about bouncing.
Guys, we're going to be talking about everything about debit orders and deductions. Our enemy, debit order. But before we speak about that, what's on the menu?
So for starters, you guys have been speaking about being scared of debit orders. This fear of like the Mhla 25 for the 30th or 15th.
Yes.
And so I thought, let me play onto that narrative and let me feed you something for starters today that most people are scared of, that most people are fearful of. And let's teach them who are watching that we can break through our fears by eating the first dish. You're getting very excited now.
I'm so scared. I'm getting so scared. The more you
Right?
talk, I'm like...
So who here has eaten tongue, ulimi?
In African culture, eating a tongue, sometimes your enemy makes you not speak again. Am I going to speak again?
So you have an excuse not to pay a debit order. It's a very small dish, and the reason why is because you want like the extravagance of flavor to punch in. Okay, if you have too much of cream and butter, you're like, that's a food. But if you have a little bit of everything together and they're all pungent flavors, just like if we put all our might and all our effort into paying our debit orders, what happens? They get paid.
They get paid.
All right, so for starters, we've got some tongue, some parsnip puree, some pom puree, mustard, and a little bit of a jus as well.
Okay.
Definitely not yours.
Awesome, thank you.
This is definitely for the gram.
Yeah.
For the gram.
Talking about being uncomfortable, guys. When we talk finances, when we talk money, why do people become uncomfortable? Why does money make us
Because there's
uncomfortable?
never enough.
She said it.
There's never enough.
You feel like you're pinching here, sacrificing there. So I think it's that feeling of you're not living your best life the way you want to. So that's why it's a sore topic.
And every time when there's a space slip, you hide it, you know. But then if you have this thing of, I know, you know, he knows more about my finances, I would show him my pay slip and say, you know, this is the money I get every month, and I'm planning to buy, you know, maybe a car. Can you help me? You know, if we have those conversations and we are more, do you speak about your finances?
I have to, you know, every time when money gets in, you know, all of it is responsibilities, assigned responsibilities. But if manje, it gets in and then you don't tell anyone, that means you spend it however you want. So somehow you, like as our expert said, that you need to sit down with those you are living with, a spouse, whether your kids who are old enough to, or your parents, that this is the amount of money that I have, and then these are the responsibilities. Whenever money gets in, my wife sits next to me, and then she gives me all the books and what needs to happen, you know?
Yeah.
I think you've hit a nail on the head. Money requires transparency and accountability. The wealthiest people in the world are surrounded by the most counselors and advisors, okay? So we seem to get it wrong and think money is a secret. Money shouldn't be a secret. The more transparent and accountable you are with your finances, the more successful you will be because you've got help.
I'm a person that's I'm based on logic and rational. So I need things to make sense to me, so I always try to make sense to other people as well. Not married, so I only communicate with my parents, like my extended family, which for me is my immediate family. So I will always, because there's certain things, we have black tax, certain things that we need to do, so I definitely communicate with them. They know. I think it was a mistake to tell them how much I earn in hindsight.
Big mistake.
Hindsight,
Big
that was
mistake.
a huge mistake.
Let's drink to that mistake.
But I definitely do share with them, this is what I'm doing this month, or this is what I'm trying to do for the next 12 months sometimes, because I'm a person that budgets and I try to stick to it. So I will let them know so that their expectations as well, I can manage them. So for me, definitely with my family, I don't mind.
Sorry to cut you. I have a question, right? You guys are talking about how important it is to be accountable, to be transparent. But let's say I'm someone that's always been very secretive with my money. How do I get started? How do I get the ball rolling? Maybe I'm not ready to tell people exactly how much I earn, every cent I spend. But how can I get that started, that culture that you guys are talking about?
Okay, firstly, transparency and accountability. Choose who you're transparent and accountable to. Okay, so family and friends, you wouldn't go and advertise your salary because that's the beginning of black tax drama. Because everyone is going to budget according to your earnings. You know,
of course.
So it's important you're transparent and accountable to even just one person being your financial planning professional.
Yeah.
Nomsa said she's not transparent and accountable to everyone, but she's got someone who advises her with her finances. So I would say just choose that to be your only person. So normally, as a financial planning professional, I end up being and walking a life journey with my clients. So if I meet you now, you're single. When you get married, I also automatically adopt your husband and we do an ITC check on him. Make sure he's what he says and he's not lying to you, because my men can do these things. So it's important to realize, choose the right people to be transparent and accountable to. And I think that's where we often get it wrong, because we choose to be transparent and accountable to the wrong people. I'll give you a case in point, an example. Our topic is debit orders. We don't want to be transparent and accountable to the people we owe money through a financial contract. So it's important around this table that I always make it clear. Financial institution is not the enemy. The enemy, as we started, is lack of knowledge, and with our investment banker who became a chef, I want to know, what's your take on that one?
You need to find somebody who you can find home with being honest about. In most instances, it's our mother, it's our bigger brother, it's our whoever. But then, what if they're not good with dealing with money? And you mentioned something about we're very happy to be open to our friends and our family and not to the actual financial institution. But then what if I'm scared of being open to them? Because they've told me if I don't pay, they're going to ITC check me and ITC this, or if I don't pay, they're going to do this, A, B, and C. So the narrative then becomes, I'm scared to be open to them because some harm or some detriment might happen to me financially. So rather eating 1 month, I'll pay the other month, you know what I mean? So rather let me keep my secrets with me. I'm scared to tell my partner or my mom, because if I tell my mom or my dad or whoever it is that I trust, they'll see, it's not working well this month, So it's more than just like, how do you tell your next best person that you're safe with? It's more about what it also brings to you to be honest. Being honest is like being vulnerable. It's putting stuff out there that actually, hey guys, I messed up last month, I partied 2 months, so I'm in this space. So now you go tell FNB that, or your bank that, sorry. You go tell your bank that, and they'll be like, yo bro, we don't really care, we still want our deposit. Do you get me?
I get you, and I think that's it. Get yourself the right advisor. And get yourself a financial institution that's going to speak the language which you understand, i.e., communicate with you in a comfortable way where you can trust them. And I think you're right. Most of us don't want to be vulnerable, but it starts with budgeting. I know you said I'm in the industry, but most of us can't take a look in the mirror. Never mind budget. I'll ask a lot of my clients, did you look at yourself in the mirror today? Most people get dressed, go to work, spend the entire day, they never saw a mirror.
Sure.
And it's that fear of ourselves, which is the fear of our lack of knowledge, which is the fear of being in control. Right. Money is a tool, and all of us can control it. And money has a system of rules. Even that financial institution that's scary and wants to ITC you, sure, they have processes, they can't just do it. The call center person is doing a job, and a lot of them are poorly trained sometimes, sure, and they're aggressive. But in reality, I say find someone you can just have a fair conversation and increase the knowledge. Debit order is governed by the National Payment Systems Act 78 of 1998. No financial institution can do anything to you with a debit order without keeping that law in mind. But our responsibility as consumers is to know what our rights and responsibilities are.
Can I ask a quick question? So, debit order is coming up on the 25th. I know by the 20th that I cannot make my fulfillment. What are my rights within that to safeguard my data and myself?
Okay, first thing,
my credit and myself.
First thing is being open and transparent. Pick up the phone, call your financial institution, and try and get them
I'll
not.
be fine with it.
They're fine with it. Let me tell you what happens. You know you're good. You don't have money on the 25th.
Sure. Yeah.
So you reverse the debit order on the 25th, right? Once you reverse the debit order under the National Payment Systems Act, you then trigger something called NAIDU, which is a non-authenticated early debit order. You've been a bad boy. So in the terms and conditions of your debit order, it says whenever you're a bad boy, they can institute NAIDU. NAIDU is the crocodile. It's the shark. And the way it works is they start to track you. And the next time there's money in your account on the 3rd, it disappears. And then everybody complains, hey, this financial institution took my money and my debit order is on the 25th. No. In your contract, it says that if I miss a debit order, you can start tracking me, and the next time there's money in my account, you can take it.
So are you saying that if I know I'm going to miss on the 25th, they must draw on the 25th, I must reverse it?
No.
I mustn't reverse it.
Don't.
The
No
sharks are
reversing.
coming.
They must take.
No.
But then they're going to take, there's nothing there.
No.
Then they're going to leave me with the 150 Rand charge on top of that.
No, I think it's about communication. If you get them early enough, they will not debit you your financial institution.
Okay.
What I'm saying is when you deliberately reverse
Reverse
it,
it.
there's consequences. The consequences that you trigger NAIDU.
Okay.
And once NAIDU starts operating in your account, whenever there's money, they take it whenever. It's no longer about our contract. It's about our contract says that if you can't meet it on this date, we collect whenever there's next money. And that's why people get confused when the money is taken suddenly.
Yeah.
And you in customer care, how do you deal with it?
So what I was also going to say is that it's a very important thing to actually call and find out, because, for example, as Metropolitan, we allow you to actually miss about 6 payments in a span of 7 years. So it's 2 payments that you actually are able to miss, where we are actually able to facilitate that. You give us a call and say, okay, listen, whatever is happening, and we allow you to miss payment, I think between 0 and 3 years. That's the first one where we say, okay, you're able to miss your payment. And then we simply collect on the next pay date. Also, you're able to let us know of the date maybe that you now prefer,
When I want to have money
which
in my
is,
account.
And I think with, just also giving us a call and, finding out, then you're able to say, some people for a very long time, they used to have a debit orders on the 1st, and you don't know why, because you got paid on the 25th. So why do you have to wait that 5 days for it? Because now a lot has happened and the money is gone. So, those are the types of things where if you actually call us, there are some, operational maneuvers that we can do to actually assist you in that. And I'm sure a lot of people don't know and are rather reversing, incurring charges for themselves. And then FICA is also maybe involved, and they're able to, that may affect, your credit score and so forth. So there are ways to actually avoid that, and as Metropolitan, it's something that we are actually doing as well.
So I'm a freelancer, work for myself. I don't have a 25th pay date, but I have checks coming in, 10, 3, 1, and then So for me, I don't like debit orders. I like to pay my debt when I have the money in the account.
Yes.
Either prepay it or pay enough for the next couple of months, whatever the case is. But I don't know if I have money on that date. Because clients said to me the 28th, but then now it's the 5th.
Yes.
So I can't change what my remuneration does to me. But the insurer wants their money on that date. How do I then fix or move around that?
Well, we do have PayPals. Like, for example, I wouldn't speak obviously for the industry, but particularly for Metropolitan, where you are able to actually go and pay at one of our PayPals and say, okay, this is the, your premium and so forth. Also, you are able to actually do EFTs as well when you do wish to pay in. So it's not always that it needs to do it. But the most important thing that we said is that you need to communicate.
So if you're a freelancer, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Communicate, and the financial institution only wants you as a client. And I think it's also important, another lesson here is who you do business with. Ask them their terms and conditions. Some companies will not move away from the debit order. It's their way of business. Their systems are not flexible enough to accommodate you. So don't do business with them. It's about shopping around and asking, because a lot of people don't like compulsory payments. But the compulsory payment is actually useful for someone who lacks discipline. But if you're that person who's disciplined, you want to work with a financial institution that's going to allow you that flexibility for you to be yourself. You can do a single annual payment, premium payment, for example, when you get your lump sum, your payday. You know, you can pay a few months in advance. There's ways of getting around it, but let's get away from the fear factor of saying, I can't call them. I'd rather just reverse it and see what happens. Because the reversal means that they can trigger NADO, which means that anytime money is in your account, they take it. Plus, you're going to pay your penalties of having missed that debit order. But my question perhaps to you is, what happens in a situation where there's a mistake? You know, you double debit me, and I then miss other debit orders as a result of you
Taking it twice.
That's a
Taking it
good
twice.
question, yeah.
So actually, I'm actually in complaints. So that is where I actually see debit orders quite a lot, where clients are coming at us and we have made the mistake as the insurer. The first thing is that we own it. It does happen. We work with systems, we work with people, and errors do happen. Sometimes it does occur that it is a system issue that we're currently experiencing. Sometimes it happens, you know, we often get that during weekends where a client maybe hasn't specified whether they would like to be debited on the Friday or the Monday between that, and we just choose whichever one we want, and you're like, no, listen, I was not ready, you know, for whatever the case might be. So us as Metropolitan, first thing is that we would definitely own up to the mistake, and then we want to put the client back to where they were if it had not happened. So that means if you incurred any bank charges, we are actually willing to then actually cover your bank charges as well, so that you're not left at any disadvantage. We literally want to square you up to where you were before the mistake happened. You know, our complaints team, it's very well trained, and we try to get to those cases very urgently.
Okay, so this is one example of where it works, you know. And now in most instances, Nomsa, we know you call them, they'll tell you it's your ndaba, you know. But you know, missing a debit order affects your credit score. So next time I want to borrow, they're like saying you don't honor your payments and all those things. So that's why the debit order is actually very key to us understanding how money works.
And just when you mention that, when it does affect and it was actually on our fault, what we can do is actually print out a letter for you, or we can actually do a letter that you can take to your banker as well, where we actually explain and highlight what has actually occurred and if the bank can reevaluate. So it's something that our client can actually take to the bank or whichever accreditor that they're working with, just so that they can be squared up.
And it's important because banks make between 8 and 9 billion rand a year from debit order charges. Some banks charge as little as 40 rand for a missed debit order. One bank I saw charges 250 rand for a missed debit order. So even if you miss a debit order for 89 rand, that's shy on 110 rand. So it's important, again, choose your financial institution well. Every month there are 33 million debit orders which happen in South Africa, and there's 14 million NADOs, 14 million sharks, because the NADO is the shark. It's just waiting. Or
There's
the
more NADOs than debit orders.
Yeah, no, the NADO is just waiting with an open mouth, you know. So let's manage our money better, because those charges, they come back to hurt us big time.
Beautiful, guys. You know, thank you very much for. It is really, the information is great, and especially the debit order thing. You know, sometimes when a debit order doesn't go, you go, yes, I've got money. That is a problem for you. It's gonna hit you bad. Let's talk about the burden of financial matters coming to the, you know, the well-being, the mental health well-being. Chelete and the mental health, you know. You know, sometimes people suffer from anxiety. They've got money problems. They don't know where to go. They don't talk about it. There are people who are financially struggling, but they need to maintain the soft life. You know, the Insta life, but they don't have money. You know, how can you help a person going through that anxiety, you know, to make them think positively?
You cannot compare yourself with people who have money already or are there. So if you know that you are not on their standard, just distance yourself a little bit, recover, speak to yourself, get someone to help, get someone to give you hope on how to get back on your feet. Read financial books, listen to financial podcasts, go to Metropolitan's websites and see how they advise people to save their money or whatsoever. I think that can help as well.
It's that financial education. I mean, this program is part of that. We need to be accountable for our financial decisions, and a New Year's resolution I would give to some people is get more knowledge. Okay, and get more knowledge also from the right spaces. Okay, so I wouldn't say log on to Twitter and start using Twitter as your financial advisor. No, but I would say get a reputable source of information. Buy good books which have been rated to well. Spend time on YouTube, watching the right videos. That's the only way you can get around this. But I think you are right. The question is, where does my accountability end and the responsibility of the financial institution start? The problem and reality for most people is that it never starts. People never start with any accountability except for blaming someone else for their decision. And here's the beauty about financial planning. You can always fix things. So I've seen people who have gotten into debt over 15, 20 years, and they've got out of debt, but they didn't get out of debt next month. It takes 18 months, sometimes 24 months, but come on, think about it. 20 years debt, gone in 2 years, 3 years, through coaching, through someone helping you. And that's what we want. And I think we need to try and make those choices, you know, because we've kind of resigned ourselves to the fact that once I'm down and out, I'll never come out of ITC. I'm doomed. No, you can come out, but it takes that first step of seeking help and having that conversation.
When we started this, I thought debit orders was something very simple, but it seems like there's a lot more to it than what it looks like. So we're giving you a dessert that's also multi-flavored, multi-layered, multicolored. It's exactly like the topic that we're talking about. It seems like it's quite simple, but there's a lot more to it. So what you're eating is, at the bottom we have a chocolate mousse, which is very airy. So we have a little bit of bitter and a little bit of that airy texture. In the middle there, that brownish, yellowish thing is a sponge cake, which is also has a little bit of air, but it's different. It's almost like a biscuit cake, you know, something like that. And then at the top we have a berry compote. So the berry compote is a little bit sweet, a little bit tart. You know, the biscuit is a little bit sweet, there's a little bit of bitter at the bottom, and then on top is some sugar work. It's got a little bit of crunch, so multi-layered, multi-textured, multi-flavored.
Thank you.
Enjoy, guys.
Like, yes.
Like me.
Let's dig into the dessert, then we'll continue our beautiful conversation. Yes. With our conversation, I mean, obviously when you're in a restaurant, obviously you need to take it, there's a takeaway, you know? In our powerful conversation, what is it that you think that you are taking home? Something that you know, I came in here, I didn't know, now I know. I'm taking this to home.
What stuck with me was that how bad it is to reverse debit orders, and that it's so much better to just make a plan, speak to them beforehand, than hitting that reverse button once it's gone through. So that's what I'm leaving here with. I didn't know that. So
I'm we literally learned a lot. So I think I'm gonna start, you know, making decisions about getting into property and buying property. I think,
What I'm learning is we need to do more financial education. I think people need to know. So for example, I'll do it quickly on my calculator here, my trusty calculator. If you take out a bond for R1 million, you pay them back 1.8 or 1.9 million, which is basically twice. So essentially there is a need for more financial knowledge. And what we're sharing also, I'll dilute it to say it's not for everyone. You need to stay in your lane and your knowledge ability. But it's important to understand that with every financial decision, there is a consequence.
Yeah, my take from this is that channels are open, you know, between the clients and the insurers and financial institutions, which is a great thing. You know, usually when ukoloto umashonisa, you try by all means to hide yourself from umashonisa. You know, you don't want to open that channel, but it's very relieving that financial institutions are opening the channels and doors for you to communicate with them, and then also that you need to be responsible. You know, apart from financial knowledge and whatnot, responsibility it's an instinctual nature of a human being. So it's something that we need to, whenever we have money, we need to be responsible on how we spend it. And then it's good that whenever I want to communicate, there's my bank, there's my institutions that holds my money, and I can speak to them.
My takeaway from everything is to shop and shop and shop some more. You know, when it comes to all your financial products, whether it's going to be insurance or investment or, you know, everything that we've spoken about now, banking, whatever. You know, because by shopping around, you're actually opening yourself up to get the information. Because when you choose a financial product, you're choosing a partner. Or when you're choosing an insurer, you're actually choosing a partner. So you need to know who you're getting in bed with, and you need to know that, you know, this partner that you've chosen, you guys are going to go all the way together. So now we were talking about a sore point. Would your partner understand your sore point? So you have to take, you know, a careful look at who you decide to go with, you know, in the industry, who you're going to, you know, bank with, who you're going to insure with, who you're going to invest with. You know, so yeah, my takeaway is that, you know, choosing a financial product is choosing a partner, and you need to make the right choice and you need to be informed.
And I think like with financial freedom, that's where it really starts from, is like being honest with yourself.
Yes.
Like you say, with yourself first. And then you go and tackle the other things outside.
Ngiyabonga guys for joining us today. I'm expect you are always with me every day. And it's, yeah, you'll never leave my side.
Together forever.
Yes. Please remember these tips, Mzansi. These are the tips that will help you do the right financial decisions. Nami myself as an artist, I know I made some financial mistakes, but after these conversations, I'm gonna be stronger. My finances, yonkinto. I need your number, I need your job, you know, because sometimes we do make financial mistakes. But anyway, guys, after this dessert, after these drinks, Tina, we're still here, we're still finishing our desserts, ne? Yeah, Tina, we'll see you. Stay tuned for the next episode. It's going to be burning.
Cheers, guys.
Ay, nyabonga. Nyabonga, chef wami. Yeah.